This is maybe a naive question, but as someone who worked and works still in many capacities in film and television production, are we just not going to have any new shows or movies forever? Like what? How are they going to start producing film and television again? So, when am I getting Succession back?
Well, that I
Who knows, because the filming constraints on that.
I didn't even think about Succession. We might need to pause filming right now so I can just like weep. Here's what's going to happen. Every movie distributor is making the calculation of whether they should do VOD releases for their existing blockbuster stuff they had in the pipeline. Obviously they should, but they have to figure out if it makes sense for them to break contracts that they had with movie theaters that were exclusivity contracts, like the amount of money they lose versus subscriptions versus operating costs. It's a huge calculation they end up having to make. And so a lot of, I think what we're going to see is blockbusters way spaced out. We're going to be seeing like one big movie on VOD every like 45 days as opposed to every week. A lot of stuff that was way lower on the totem pole, like an independent movie that I was working on, I was going to play at a festival and we were going to hope it would win an award and then we would put it up on Vimeo, is now going to be like, it is dropping on Netflix. It is a AAA like ad campaign for that stuff. And then what we're going to get when we come back is going to be soap operas and reality show stuff because they're real easy and cheap to throw together. You can work around, for reality show stuff, as unfortunate as this is, you can work around union regulations. If you're like a Quibi, you don't have to obey by union rules. Quibi's a disaster. We can talk about that in a minute. But we can, that's a disaster. You can work around union rules and you can make up new ways to shoot. And then there's also the whole thing of Netflix is starting to, and I think they're going about it the wrong way at the moment, but they're starting to make deals with creators to shoot stuff in their home. Like someone who knows how to operate a camera, like a Brad Pitt knows how to operate a camera, is obviously very good at his job and can be provided with a script and you can cut together a short film like from that. There's also like the whole quarantine genre of stuff that every screenwriter right now is working on in their home with their Keurig. They're sitting being like, okay, so it's a murder that happens over Zoom or whatever. And like, we're going to get a lot of that. And I think those will paper over the holes. So it won't feel like there's nothing coming out. It will just start getting weirder and more sporadic. Like a Netflix series that takes place entirely on a computer screen is going to drop the same week as a documentary series that's been shooting for 10 years.
But like, okay, Disney is like more powerful than most nations.
Yeah.
What are they not going to come up with some kind of solution where like everyone is getting a Rona test and they're all on set together?
Totally. You're gonna see that.
When is Succession coming back?
The problem, though.
I'm sorry. I'm not that shallow. Please continue.
The problem, though, with that whole thing, and it breaks my heart because I want Succession, my sweet baby child, to come back to my arms, is
how you shoot that, though.
People aren't gonna react well, even if they do it scientifically correctly. They're gonna have to do a PR campaign to explain how things were shot and how it's safe and how you shouldn't get mad at Disney and you shouldn't get mad at these celebrities. You should actually be really thankful that they worked so hard. Hollywood loves talking about itself and talking about how hard it works and how, difficult and important storytelling is. Well, we tell stories is like the tagline for every media company. They're gonna do that stuff, but it's a harder thing to land because if they, fly a bunch of the actors and crew onto an island and then self-quarantine for 2 weeks and then start shooting, I'm sure that's perfectly safe. I'm not a scientist, ask your doctor, but I'm sure there's a way to work out the logistics there. But then they're going to have to do a whole performative, and this is how we did it, kind of thing that's going to be its own genre of media that has to be produced in a safe way. A friend of mine is an editor for a large cable network, and she currently has to drive to a Dropbox, pick up, not like a physical Dropbox, not like a cloud Dropbox, pick up a hard drive home, edit the stuff on her personal computer, put it back on the hard drive back, drop it in the Dropbox. Then someone has to pick it up from there, drop it. And it's like this whole Rube Goldberg machine built to do this editing. So even stuff that they are able to produce, it takes so much longer to do the post-production. The Good Fight just went on hiatus, not because they didn't have the footage, but because how do you do audio production out of an audio studio? How do you do looping when someone only has an iPhone at home? How do you, do pickup shots for things that don't make sense because the news changed? The Good Fight takes place in our current news landscape. So they fill in little bits so it feels more current, even though they shot
I
this
thought
thing
that
6
show
months ago.
ended.
No, that was The Good Wife. This is the spinoff, The Good Fight.
Oh, okay.
It's basically The Good Wife, but like they shuffled the cast down.
Should I watch The Good Wife? I'm looking for a show to binge.
Chelsea, you're gonna love The Good Wife. It's so good. That is such a good wife. She is the best.
Our wife, she is so good.
Our wife, she is so good. The Good Wife is about.
Is that with Chris Noth?
Yes.
Love me some Chris.
It is about the person you wish Hillary Clinton had been her whole life.
Because I did not like House of Cards, I will say.
No, it's nothing like that.
Stuck with it through 2 seasons.